This is the beginning of lesson 9, and we had left off, we had just saved this data set, make sure that you do that, and we had just added in this party identification variable. We're going to add in 2 additional variables, the nominate scores associated with our members of Congress. And in order to do this, we're going to have to go out to that voteview.com site. We're going to have to download some data, shrink it up a little bit, get rid of some of the data, and then what we'll have to do is we'll have to import it. And so this shows you some additional skills that you really do need in grad school, because you always have data that's located in different spots. And so one of the biggest things about doing empirical research is you always have to learn to import and manipulate the format of data. So we're going to do a little bit of exercise with that. This can be kind of complicated, so again, make sure you save and you have a current version. So I'm in version 5, and when I get done with this, it'll be version 6. Okay, good. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go out and I'm going to go get my data on voteview.com. And so I've got it pulled up here already in my browser. So just simply go to voteview.com, and down here you're going to see on this left-hand menu it'll have DW nominate scores. This is actually really important. So when you get here, go ahead and right-click and print off this page, because it's got some important things in it that you're going to need after we download the data. In particular, it's got the format of the legislator file, so it's going to tell you what is in what column, and that's actually really important because we need to make sure that we identify the proper coordinates, and that's the ones that are in column 8 and 9, and we're also going to need this ID number 1 to be the same as well. Okay. Now, in this, you'll see the legislator estimates from 1st to 112th houses. We can do this in text file, stata file, whatever else. I'm just going to do it in an Excel file for this purpose. And so I'm going to click and have it bring down this and save it in my download file. So I'm going to minimize everything, and I'm going to go to my download folder. In this case, I've got 2 of them, so I'm just going to pull this one out and put it on my desktop. Okay. At this point, I'll open this thing up, and I've got a file that looks something like this. Now, notice this is a big file. It is huge, but we only need certain amounts of it, right? We only need these kind of the current Congresses, and so this is the 2nd Congress all the way up through. If we go to the bottom of this thing, we'll see that there's 37,000 and all the way to the 109th and whatever else. I need, as we'll talk about, I'm going to need the 106th Congress, because we want to use a Congress before the Congress in which we're studying the bill. This is because of tautological influences, and that is covered in the instructions for the assignment. So the first thing I need to do is I need to insert some variable names here. And to do that, I need to have a sense of what the format is. And so I'm going to make this window a little bit smaller. And I'm going to go back to this one. I'm going to pull this one and see if I can figure out what goes where. And so the first thing that I have, this first column is going to be associated with Congress. This one is ID number, so it's ID no. I believe that's what we need, that one later to match up to something, and I think it's going to be ID no. In the next one, it's state code, so I'll just say state. After that one is congressional district number. I'll say district. I'll call the state name. After that, we go into the party code, so party ID. After that is representative. I'm just going to call it rep. That's good. And these are the variables of interest. The first one is going to be DW-nom1. The second one is going to be DW-nom2. These are the 2 scores that we ultimately want to introduce and pull into our database. The rest of the stuff we don't really need, And in fact, to keep you from getting confused, it might be better off just to delete everything here. So I'm going to select all those rows. I'm going to select all those rows. I'm going to right click and delete. Okay, so at this point you have all these DW nominate scores going back from the first Congress all the way to the 112th. We need to import that into SPSS and get rid of all those excess Congresses. So that's what we're going to do next. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as, I'm going to save it just to my desktop. I'm going to call this import version 02. And that should take care of that. I'm going to close out everything, and I'm going to open up my H drive. My H drive, I've got project 3 out here, and I'm going to take version 2 and move it over. And hopefully that'll take care of one of my problems, because I'm having a lot of issues with both SPSS on this desktop and the virtual lab. It's just been an awful afternoon dealing with this stuff. Alright, so it looks like it's done copying. I'm going to go into my virtual lab access. I'm going to open up SPSS 21. I'm going to cancel out of this, and I'm going to open up. I'm going to go to the very top of this hierarchy, look for the H drive. I'm going to go to project 3. I'm going to look for my Excel file. And I have import version 2. I'm going to read all that thing in. Okay. So now I've got a crap load of DW nominate scores, and a lot of them I don't need, but I do need the ones from the Congress in which I'm working with. And so my bill was passed in the 107th Congress. So I'm going to tell SPSS to get rid of everything except for the 107th Congress. So I'm going to say select cases if, I'm using this yellow and blue icon up here. I'm going to say if Congress equals 107, because that's when my account was, or when my bill was passed. I'm going to, instead of filter these out, I'm just going to delete it and get everything out of here. After I'm done, I should just have the nominate scores associated with the 107th Congress. All right, so that should execute. And when I'm done, I should have, let's look at how many we got. I've got 400. And 42. Okay, good. Let's do one other thing here. While I'm at it, I'm going to get rid of this one. So I got rid of the Bush one before, so let's get that one out of here. Clear that one, and I'm going to save this as file, save as, in that same place, nominate import version 002. Good. Okay, so I've got this particular one ready to go, and now I need to just import it into the active data sheet, which I'm going to open up next. My next step is to open up another data set, and this is that individual level data that I had. And so this has got all the information that I need. It's got my dependent variable, my first party ID. I just want to put in those 3 ones next to it. Okay. To do that, we're going to use the same key variable. So in my count, I have this ID number, and I'm going to quickly sort on that, sort ascending. And if I look at the variable, it's ID number, numeric. I set it for 11. I got rid of the label, and I set the columns for 11 as well. In the data that I'm going to try to merge in, I also have this ID number. Let me sort that one. And you'll see it should look pretty close. I'm going to go to the variable number. I have ID number, numeric, 11 size, everything, no label in there, 11 in there. Okay. So what I have is I've got 2 key variables. I've got this variable here, and what I want to do is I want to use those to match and merge, and so that's what I'm going to do in the next lesson. Thanks.